What we got, what we got, what we got. We're gonna do this thing just a second. Get this thing live. Put this thing down. See what we got going on. Put this thing on real quick. See what we're working with. Get this question lined up. Will. So what's up? Just coming on here right now. Starting up this question and this poll. Let me see if we can make this thing into some gold. Again, so let's see what we working with. What's happening? Roller Raider, what's happening? How you living? Just got you on. Just got you on. What's happening? How you doing? Welcome to this live stream. I'm gonna be here. Um, Definitely will do an hour plus, maybe an hour and a half, maybe two. Depends on how many people show up. If I get enough, I will be here for two. If not, I'll make it like an hour and a half. Um, I understand people got things going on. I understand with holiday weekends, holiday season about ready to start cracking this week. So I'm gonna definitely be here um today, and I'll probably come towards the end of the week to see what's going on. Um, well, thank you. Where you coming from today, Yippee? Glad to have you in here. By the way, please hit the like, smash up the like, hit the subscribe. Buy one, donate. Tell me where you're from. Um, Glad to have you come through. I welcome everybody that comes through. Appreciate the compliment. And tell me where you're from. Um, so everybody will kind of know. Always welcome everybody that comes through. People hit the membership, hit the likes, hit the subscribes, comments. Feel free. I am very glad to have people come through. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope everybody's had a great weekend. Tell me what part of the world you're from, where you at, so I can acknowledge properly. And tell me what's going on with your life. Me too. Me too. What part are you at? Where are you at? Where are you at? I was actually at one of the churches recently and I saw that particular flag. Hello, how are you? How you doing? Where you coming from today? Not too far from Portsmouth, and I'm like a couple of hours from London. How about yourself? I've never heard of that. Where is that by? See, I need to get some education. I need to be enlightened because there's a lot that I'm still learning. And one good thing about with the lives and everything, everybody's on the kind of on the same time zone, so we kind of like, and then we know until other people come in. But tell me, where's Frenton? I need to know if I'm even saying it right. Frenton or Frighton? I don't even know, but do tell so I can be enlightened. My friend is dating your friend is dating his sister? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? That your friend is dating his sister? That's not really legal unless you're in the backwoods or someplace. I can't really condone that. That's kinda, ugh. There are some brothers and sisters that are very touchy-feely. Not the first time I've not heard that though, but it's a bit much, but I don't think that's by accident. Sometimes their parents or people are into some things. Now I've heard of distant cousins and stuff. I have actually heard of some brothers and sisters because I think what I wanna say Angelique Jolie and her brother were bit mm, there's some things that are, you know, there's levels to affection and there's a levels to I don't know. I don't really it's not something that I would do. Uh-uh. That's one of the reasons why a lot of stuff is so I don't know, but it's part of cultures though. It is part of cultures. Some people believe in that kind of demonic mindset. They definitely do certain things. Yeah. Okay, so we walked in on him and what about Mike Tyson? What about Mike Tyson? He just got he got a 120,000 offer for the holidays. So he's definitely gonna be making some money. But what about Mike Tyson? What's up? How you doing? Told you I was coming back today. And I dropped some videos. I got some videos out, got some stuff out. And how's your daddy Jokic doing? Jokic just had a baby and he took care of his kids. That's how old are they, by the way? That's interesting, but not shocking, though. Not shocking. It's not much in 2024 you can tell me today that I'm like, oh, I didn't see that because people are pretty wild out here in these streets. But I think that that's something that was permitted from their families. What's a tough loss? Which one's a tough loss? Tough loss? Which one? What? What's a tough loss? You didn't think you were gonna beat your daddy. You got a new stepdaddy, JJ Ridiculous. We don't even care about that 30 and 10. We care about that man who just had a baby 2 nights ago, and then he came back and he had to spank his old sons to let them know who the daddy was. Y'all ain't beating no y'all not in Denver's class. That's kind of disgusting, Lemon Jungle. That's pretty disgusting. Something's not right. Something wrong with the families. You ain't beating Denver. I tried to tell you. That's why Djokovic came to bring the belt. Y'all ain't ready for that belt. Y'all got that belt. Y'all not in their class. They play with you. JJ Ridiculous is in over his head. I know. I gotta take this mess off. I gotta get that mess out of here. Um, yeah, you're not in Denver's class. Jokic is on another level. He outscored LeBron and AD by himself. I see Scottie Pippen Jr. They might be overrated, but they better than you are. Now, I'm not gonna argue that because they don't play like that consistency every night. If they did, Denver would be a threat to come out the finals, and Jokic would be en route to 2 to 3 rings, which he should be en route to, because it's criminal that that team ain't matching his energy. But maybe with Russell, they might can snatch a ring. They get they get a ring out of it, then they got a chance. Okay. But you're not beating them though. You're not in their class though. And I tried to tell Laker fans that, but y'all don't want to hear the truth. Y'all rather have Stephen A. Smith and some of these other turkeys, Nick Wrong, and them lie to you every day and make you think that you're that good. When Darvin Ham told you about that monster that was in Denver, you're not in their weight class. Jokic is better than LeBron and AD put together, and more overall a weaponry. He got a better outside shot. I'm not a fan. I like Jokic. I think Jokic is one of the 10 greatest centers ever. I think only he's still behind Moses and Hakeem, and he's not in the Shaq, Bill Russell, Kareem, or Wilt Chamberlain class, but he's in the top 7. I don't really like how they play though. They're not consistent. I agree, now they don't, because Michael Porter got to be more consistent. He is. Murray got to be more healthier. They look good in spurts. Well, I can't do anything about that. What's your question, Ants game? But the Nuggets, I, they're not beating Boston. If you want my big term picture, unless of course they play like this every night. At this stage, he's past him. He's past AD. He better than AD. Okay, I'm not. You're getting too graphic now. I gotta remove that. If he wins 2 more chips, and the thing about Jokic is that it's only gonna get better for next 3 or 4 years. Tell me what's so funny. I had to take that person off because the trolling's getting too disgusting. I can't keep hearing that. No, he better than AD. Oh, you gonna tell me Jokic ain't better than AD? I know I had to get them out of here because I'm not even understanding what this conversation is going to, and I'm not trying to hear about no people with no dog situation. But you'd be lucky that Denver doesn't have a squad that is consistent, because if they had a consistent squad, Jokic, there wouldn't be no question about where it could be. He's going to get MVP this year. He keeps this up, he's getting another MVP. Will he win another ring or two? That's what we get into. Okay, well, I don't keep hearing about dogs all the time. And tell me where you're from and what you want to talk about, but it's getting kind of, at this stage, he is. At this stage, he's better than AD is. Oh, so let me ask you a question. When was AD ever the leader of his team like Jokic? You gonna tell me with a straight face that Jokic plays with DeMarcus Cousins, Drew Holiday, and Rondo, and doesn't come out the West and win a chip? So you gonna tell me AD is seeing Jokic? Yes, he's putting up great numbers and he's playing ball right now, finally. But Jokic doesn't get to hide behind a LeBron or nobody in Denver. Who they got in Denver that he gets to hide behind on a consistent basis? AD, gets carried and allows himself to be carried. He outscored them by his look at the stats last night. 32 points for Jokic. LeBron and AD combined for 32. And he almost had more rebounds than both of them. Barber. I don't know what that means, Barber. They're not a garbage team. They're just average. They're not garbage. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for coming through. So I did see, maybe I'll see you again, Ants Cam. I did see LaMelo. And I told we were talking about him yesterday. He looked good. They sucked though, but he looked good. He gotta score 100 so they can win some games though, because they about to go tanking and he'll get hurt. And you know how it goes. He'll get their 26 to 31 wins and then he'll be out. You know how it goes. Giannis is starting to come on though. Giannis is playing like he's possessed now. He's looking good. About time. They finally playing like they supposed to. Bobby Porter's hitting some shots. Lopez and Dame, they gotta play like that. Because if they don't even try hard, they're the third best team in the East. Did you hear what I said? Don't even try hard. They're the third best team in the East. So they gotta, you know, they're behind Boston, Cleveland, and might be ahead of New York. But we'll see how it all turns out though. Yes, true, Mr. The Kid. He don't want the Joker smoke because the Joker be tearing that butt up. It makes him look slow. He got no answers for the Joker. He got no answers for Sabonis. If you want to be technical, his old boy for Sacramento be rocking AD's world, puts triple doubles on him. He can't handle them flex bigs. Them flex bigs give him a headache. His speed is more like Joel Embiid and Cat, who dance out in the perimeter. But them cats that dance in the glass and got the touch and move around, he got problems with them. So, but I wasn't surprised at that all last night. I ain't surprised. The Lakers are overrated, and JJ Ridiculous is about to find out what Darvin Ham found out. There's some teams you just don't match up good against at all, and they your daddy, and they about to come to spank you, and they gonna get spanked. They don't play no defense. They're gonna cry they need a third option, which was blatant last night. They got exposed badly. But Russell was hanging on the rim. They don't know how to they don't utilize their offense the right way. Rui, Connect, Reeves, too light in the cakes for what the Nuggets can throw at them. And only because they hit that fluky three is why they cracked 100 last night. They was getting ready to get smoked by 30. They're just not on that level. At home too. Not good. Not good. And no, I'm not a Nuggets fan. I like Jokic a whole lot. I tolerate Murray, and I think Michael Porter needs to do more. I think they would be something if Porter could get off, but I think they don't get enough out of what they got. What's so funny? Because the team that I get flukes three. That was a fluky three at the end. That was a he shot that thing off the backboard. That was a fluky three. They was getting they got waxed. 70-39 and after and it's always the same story. It's like them was like, okay, let them feel good. Then we come in third quarter, we put this go off on their butt because you don't have the juice. See, nobody wants to talk about this. LeBron, that's how you know LeBron is old. He has no what he used to do to Toronto is what Denver does to him now. Think about it. What he used to do to DeRozan and the baby dinosaurs, this is what the Nuggets do to him. He got no answer for Jokic. None. And they are a nightmare matchup for him. So and I know AD was playing really good, but they can't match that. They can't match what they doing. All right, now keep on coming. I see a few people coming through. Feel free to hit that like, hit that subscribe. Come on through. 54% says no to the answer. I got a lot of poll on that one. Well, Kendrick Lamar would be as good as Ice Cube. They both came out with Ruckus the same day on Friday. And it was interesting when I was listening to him because I thought, whoa, this might be Kendrick. I don't know. Sometimes his voice, I don't know what it is about him. There's some about him that it's like it's really good for what it is, but it ain't what I know, It's like, okay. He's good for his era, but if you grew up on Cube, it just hits different. Anyway, so what happened was I had heard about it years ago. And and you know, because I did watch Love Connection, I watched the other shows, and he was real catchy. He did Wheel of Fortune. Chuck Woolery had that nice, friendly. When you go get a new car dealership, he's like, "Hi, you doing?" Real friendly, Harold. You know, happy days, all happy go lucky. But I remember he went to Twitter, and then all of a sudden, the real him came out. And so, oh yeah, I had to do it. Two things had to be true. I enjoyed Love Connection. I used to watch it with my grandma back in the day, but I gotta call him a bigot too, because that was just too extreme. And there's other things there too with him. So, you know, he, you know, so I gotta call it out. Hmm. It's sad, but Bob Barker fell into that class too. Hmm. Hmm. See, and the reason why I put this out there is because cats of a certain age, they never get called out on that stuff. People just want to find to romanticize everything. But just like Mel Gibson's tirade, you got to be real with this. You got to take the yin and the yang. And that's the problem I have with the so-called people that love Mel Gibson. They don't hold him accountable for his tirade, or they try to whitewash and sweep under the carpet. Act like, oh well, he had a night of drinking or he had a binge night. Where sometimes someone black does something, you get one opportunity. Look at Kyrie Irving. They about nearly shut his whole thing down. So yeah, look, yeah, I'm sorry. You gotta be accurate. They're not accurate. So that's how I went at him. And he gets treated like he's a staple because of what he got to host a show. Yeah, I did that video because I was tripping when that thing came through last night. So last night that thing came through and I really was sitting there like, I said, okay, he got his wake up call. You don't want to be political? You don't. And I'm thinking, y'all need him because y'all need to have a black quarterback that's successful because it don't make y'all look so racist after what went down with Kaepernick. You see how these things kind of intercede in the intersection? Mm. Why are you shocked? Why are you shocked? I said I liked his talent. I ain't say I was in love with him. I said I like his talent. I think you don't always understand where I come from. Like I think Tiger Woods is the greatest golfer. All due respect, to Jack Nicholson. I like his talent. I separate the two. I don't care for what he be putting down. No, no, because I see him go. Well, I really don't. I don't really have an opinion. And see, when you do all that shuffle lotion, you be doing all that shuffle lotion all on that deck, like like you can't head bop that. You can't head bop that. You got drafted a year after they whiteball Colin Kaepernick. And when they still wanted to make y'all into running backs, you can't act like if you a student of the game, uh, that you ain't seen that you've been part of the explosion of the last 12, 13 years. See, I would tell Patrick Mahomes this. I've been watching football longer than you've been alive. And the black quarterback, we went from Doug Williams to Russell Wilson winning. We went from Doug Williams to Steve McNair starting. We haven't had a lot of exposure to the starting black quarterback. So you know your history and you have and your father didn't tell you, I'm gonna tell you. I called him out because I didn't again, you thinking you gonna get crossed over. That's what I said. Because I'm like, oh, for real? are you for real that you shooting sign? I mean, like, come on now. It's a dangerous game. Y'all try. I said, well, y'all done with him? Did he do a diddy? Did he tick off somebody? The money getting funny? I'm trying to figure out why now would y'all gonna come after him? So yeah, that made a good video, so I had to do it. Hmm. So she won't. If she did, he'd be a lot more sharper. See, I tell you like this. If if you play that game, you better make sure that you don't catch feelings. Okay? Because they're gonna let you know sooner or later. So don't catch no feelings. And that's one thing I'll give Herschel Walker. He keeps shuffling his feet. He ain't changed. Don't change. I don't want to hear you, when they ain't got no love for you no more. Candace Owens, all of a sudden you get woke up. I'm like, no, 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 no. Don't change it. I give Clarence Thomas his due. He ain't changed it. I don't want to hear it. That's one of the problem I had with Jason Whitlock, because Whitlock, uh, he sometimes like, woo, like, no. No, I can't say that because there was a guy named Wilt Chamberlain. I can't say that, but I will say, yep. But I will say this though: if he can win two more rings, and another regular season MVP and two Finals MVPs, he will definitely be in that top four. So, but I'll say this: he right now he's with Elijah one as far as that. He's just outside. His offensive skill set is scary, ridiculous. His vision is scary. He's on a beat. I've been watching him. Best player going today. I still got him and Giannis, 1 and 2, and SGA is right there. Joel Embiid is out my top 5. I think I got who am I impressed with? Those 3. Jason Tatum should get top 5 consideration this year. He's looking good. He's definitely looking good. And Ted, I would just say Victor Wemby looking good last night. He's coming on. If they can play some defense and they got the right pieces, they could be a play-in tournament team. 'Cause they look they definitely making strides. I did that video too, yeah. Mhm. I talked about him. Old stray hand. And I went in too, you know. He tries to keep that gap covered. He's like, "Well, shot, like, look, stop all of just stop, man. Look, I said what I said. I ain't going I said what I said. But Jokic got a chance though to be if he could he's gotta win 2 more rings, 2 more finals MVPs, another MVP, and then he'll be way up there. They don't love you. Mm, mm. Wilt led the league in assists. Wilt won scoring titles, and he did win, and he was part of 2 championship teams, and Bill Russell gave him the honor. All due respect to Hal Greer, Wilt was a dominant force, and there was no three-point line. Remember that. No three-point line, no zone defense. I'm not gonna say he did. I'm not gonna say that about him because he didn't what he did wasn't like a situation where he got exposed for anything. So I can't say that. I can't say that. But what I am going to say is this. He's got to be on his P's and Q's from here on out. And he's got to understand that he's in corporate America and they expect him to adhere, especially as a quarterback. So They might not give Kansas City some calls. They might treat him ordinary. Better be acting like Cam Newton. You better act like Cam did. Cam went out like a G. You can say what you want to say about Cam. Cam go out like a G. And that is the reality of the politics that's out here. I'm watching how they do the former black quarterbacks, the starting ones, and the in between ones. Keep your eye on it. You fall into a level of how you got to act. See, Lamar is kind of like cool. You know he black and he keeps it real with his thing, but yeah. What I like about Cam, because Cam come up with the Huggy Bear, Starsky and Hutch hats, and like the, and he be tripping, but he know his stuff. It's a comedy flair there that works. His timing works. He connects, or like a country preacher too, but it worked. Hmm. Cats fall in different lines. I'm not gonna call nobody. I'm not gonna say, well, if I think about you, what you bucking, I got to think about who I would say. Can't say that Mahomes. It's just that he got called out for something that he probably thought he was gonna get away with. And they tend to make you feel comfortable until they let you know that you're not that comfortable. We're watching you. Streets is watching. Streets be watching. So yeah, now he did. You ain't gotta apologize by putting your hand over your heart. You're like, well, look, man. And Jay Glazer saying, "I got you." Jay Glazer is a sidekick dude. Jay Glazer is like Brian Windhorst of that whole crew. And he going up there telling, see, that shows you about systematic institutionalized racism. If Jay Glazer is telling you you're good, man, how Jay Glazer on your level? He ain't on your level. What'd he say? What'd he say? He ain't on your level. Oh, Uncle Luke. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, first of all, right. I'll do a video about Luke. But Luke, what he talking about the Denver like he wants to get off. First of all, but tell me the other thing that he said. He said, well, that's not surprising. That's not surprising. I didn't know he was so political, but cared so much. I'm gonna do a video about him. I didn't know he was so Marcus Garvey. When did he become Marcus Garvey? I didn't think he was so aware, man. What did he get so radical? Now, granted, what happened um um with the Two Live Crew, um he had to go against with the Supreme Court because of banning USA and Springsteen hooked him up. And I remember that back in 90. But that was political. There was censorship and all that. And he did have to make a stance. But it wasn't like he was a political commentary rapper. He was selling the same stuff Larry Flint was, okay? It was censorship, but it wasn't like a black thing. It wasn't like, he was doing anything for empowerment. He better watch out because they gonna diddy him up. Oh, I know that I mean, you know, he basically was like a black Larry Flint. He got a lot of nerve to try to say some stuff. And what? First of all, she had 92% of African American women and 80% of black men. So where is this coming from that it was gonna make some? There wasn't like black folks in the voting process were pro her. It ain't like it was split. It wasn't no big dip. Black women came out in support of her strongly. Black men, three quarters came out strongly for her. So what's this? What people not getting their math right now? If you want to get mad, Latinos or Asians and white women, there you go, have at it. But if that, that's who supported uh Trump predominantly. But black folks were pretty much with her. So I don't understand this logic. But I don't know where he became such a defending pro-black deep thinker. I don't get that from him. I must have missed something in the news. I don't get it. I never got it like that with Luke. Okay, I'll answer that question for you, blank man, because um Rodman was a specialist who did one thing great. And Jordan was a scoring machine because he was a guard. They don't like the big man. It's called the Samson and Goliath syndrome. Big men never get their due. Never do. Never do. The stats are scary for them. They never get their due. That's why. That's why. And if you've been a basketball fan or purist, you know that you're never going to hear big man called the greatest. They always give it to the guards, and they'll never come out. Rodman was a unique freak as a player, but he wasn't the best rebounder. Bill Russell didn't feel that way, and Wilt didn't feel that way. But he was great for what he fit in the modernization of context. He was an undersized power forward who utilized and was agile enough and versatile enough. The taps, the rebounds, the hustle. He had his own category. He was the greatest hustler I ever seen on a basketball court. No one out hustled you in a game than Dennis Rodman. You could not hustle him. And MJ scored 10 scoring titles, match Wilt that way, could score every which way you could imagine. And guards always get the love. The big man never gets their due. That's why. Big men never get love. So basketball, even though it's a game for giants, it's always about the small men getting the love. That's the facts. That's why he doesn't get that. He's not considered the number one. You could sit there and tell me, and they do that as a token gesture. And you know why they do that? You know why they do that? He played with two of the greatest point guards ever, in Oscar Robinson and Magic Johnson. Okay. He was a great high school player, great college player, great NBA career. But they never hyped up. And they loved the fact that he passed Will Chamberlain's all time scoring record because they didn't really feel Wilt. But they sure as heck didn't feel Kareem. And Kareem never got an opportunity to own a team, coach a team, or be a GM of a team because the media critics hated him. And it's fashionable now for them to say it after LeBron passed him up. That's what's up. I watched an episode of Around the Horn once 20 years ago, and Woody Page slipped up. He came on the air and told Tony Reality and them I'd never give him a vote or a time of day. He held it against him. Skip Bayless talked about being dissed by him, and Kareem was funny time with people. But you think these writers and these critics ain't got no sway? They do. They do. That's why I always tell people do your history. It's fashionable for them to say that. Do they really mean it? Because if they really meant that, they'd give him the number one ranking overall, which you could, but they won't. And they disrespect Bill Russell too. And don't tell me that they were a handful of teams or whatnot. He was just a defensive player because he was great. He facilitated that team. He led that team. He's the only player coach to do that. Think about it. So they got subjective meanings when they say things. They're doing it to him after the fact. So I watch what they don't say. Consensus by some people, consensus by not everybody. The 49ers are in a real interesting situation because now without Brock Purdy, they got to win the game. They got to win the game. It means big things for both teams. Green Bay's hopes of staying with Detroit, they got to win. They can win without Bosa. Purdy's the question mark. They got to be able to run the ball. So I think that if they're able to move the ball, don't get any turnovers, don't get no third and longs, don't turn the ball over, they get themselves a chance. It's a big game for them because Kyle Shanahan's behind his do he produce another legit quarterback or what you got? His butt's eventually got to be on his hot seat eventually. It's a huge game for both teams. The only thing the 49ers got going for them is that the NFC West might be if Arizona loses or Seattle loses, the parity could come down to the last game. But Green Bay needs they both need to win for different reasons. Frisco needs character win. Seconds and shorts are better for the 49ers because they got to run the ball. The Packers just got to stay away from turnovers and not get into games that they got to keep close. They can beat the 49ers if they don't turn the ball over. They're able to move the ball and get touchdowns early. Because 49ers, I don't know if they can come back from if they get something. So the Packers got to have one of those kind of games where they come out. I think whoever can impose a will in this game, it's going to be an easy win for the team. If it's a close game, it favors the 49ers. If it's a blowout, it favors the Packers. That's how I look at it. You could, but that would benefit the 49ers more. They got to come in and run it because if they don't trust their quarterback, what do you think they're going to do? So, and I think this is a huge game for Frisco because if we get in the playoffs, they don't want to go to Green Bay this year in the postseason. But I think it's you know, it's a must win for both teams. 57% says no for Kendrick. I think we're gonna definitely go to the wire on that one. Appreciate the people voting and the ones coming through. Big plays downfield. Green Bay needs the big plays. That's where y'all thrive. That's where y'all thrive. The 49ers need a nickel and dime you and try to buy some time. They're not really making big plays this year, but Green Bay is. It's two different teams and going two different ways. That's how I look at it. But a big game for both. Because whoever loses this game is gonna be thinking to themselves, I got a hard road to get through Detroit. The 49ers should really want to make a statement. He's got to not get into those Brett Favre games. That's where he gets himself in trouble. Every time eventually you throw 3 touchdowns and 3 picks, some team is going to wax your behind. Then you end up looking like Dak Prescott. You'll be more Prescott than you will Brett Favre. So, you know. But if he got hot around this time last year, he could go into a groove. They could be a problem. I still think y'all could be a problem in the postseason. Because like I said before, you just got Detroit and Philly to worry about. Everybody else is beatable. And if one of those teams get knocked out or knock each other up, you might got a chance. Okay, I got some more subscribers, more people coming through. So feel free to come on in. Keep hitting the like button. Take the poll. If you want to donate, feel free. Appreciate everybody coming through. And wherever you are, blank man, that's my thoughts and takes about the wilt. I hate when people come and ask and say stuff and they don't come back and respond because he had a lot to say about why Wilt Chamberlain, who credible offensive force. Hmm. Okay. Where everybody go? Where everybody go? Checking one time, checking one time. You hope they do. You hope they do. They if Anthony Richardson is awake and he can hit some big plays, they could. And Mahomes comes back like I think they are, they should win that game. Panthers been playing pretty good lately, but I think KC got that game. They need that game. They win that game, there's 10 wins. You can go ahead and put the banner for AFC West. The Lions are beatable, but you gotta play a game where you put points. You gotta score touchdowns. That's what Houston didn't do. Any given Sunday, but I don't. I think Kansas City gonna beat the Panthers. I don't think I don't think the Panthers got enough to match KC. You gotta have a certain type of offense to beat Kansas City too. I don't see that with Carolina. They stuck with two quarterbacks they really don't be feeling. Good luck with that. Okay, so let's get some more clicks and votes and let's see what we get. Ah, so everything is gone. He can win you a game, but he can lose you 10. So what you trying to tell me in English? That's why his butt's backing up Bryce now because he stinks. And they got no quarterback. They suck. And he only wins games when teams play pretty bad. I'll give you this. Andy Dalton is a better version of Daniel Jones. I'll give you that. Miami, it's a winnable game. Washington has to make a statement this game. They're now Miami's under 500. They got to make a statement, but two is going to be a problem. But the problem with Washington that I've seen is that they're still young in terms of certain types of teams. So they got to figure out how to impose their will early, play some defense, not do dumb stuff. They've lost some close games because they've been like a step or two off. That's how I look at it. Um, I I think they need a new coach. I think that you were talking about the Wildcat offense. I think Derrick Henry's been beasting. I think Lamar could be an MVP, but their defense is whack. They don't the secondary gets ate up. And sometimes on the offense, they get too predictable. They get samey. They should be a lot more exposed. This is a huge game. This is a huge game because I'll tell you a story. Whoever wins that game out of them and the Chargers is definitely going to be a 4 seed lock. So you got to think KC, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, it's a huge game. Baltimore got to make a statement. If they lose to the Chargers, that team is that wild team for a slot that could be a problem. So it's a huge game. And just think that they're not on the same wavelength. And big game. They need to make a statement on defense. They need to get Justin Herbert shook. They lose that game, they may not make the playoffs. They might be in real trouble. For the Chargers, it's a situation where they could be a year progress bigger than they were. But that's the difference of having a head coach who knows what he's doing with a quarterback who's legit. Have you ever had to watch a game without being in the same house as friends around? Yeah, yeah, I have. Yeah, and I also had a friend of mine who was from Ohio, and it was very sad. I haven't really talked about that on here. I don't really discussed it because uh, my buddy, he's from Ohio. He was a bus driver, and this one of the sad stories. He committed suicide, and we were really cool. Uh, Watched the game. We both were rooting individually. Um, I remember he was dating one of the drivers, and she was really, it was like a couple years after the fact, and she was really broken up about it because it was pretty sad. So, and the time I think about that, I do think about that because we hung out on a Saturday. It was about 2010, and we were cool. And I didn't know the severity of the depression. And I have watched games at other people's houses where there's different interests and roots. So, but yeah, that comes to mind when I think about that rivalry. Ohio State and Michigan hit in a few different ways, if you must know. I've had some interesting stories. There wasn't nothing to get feisty about because Ohio State got that was tearing the behind up, and it when we were good. I put it to you like this: the last few years, I didn't get no invitation. After that after that whiff uh punt situation, then I don't understand why. Because after you beat Pittsburgh and you beat Cincinnati and you still got eight losses, I don't know what you're rowdy about. You get more upset because you got a whack quarterback. Man, they rough. They cracked me up though. That game was hilarious. And Jameson got some fans too. One of my uncles is really crazy, but gives Jameson love. I'm like, I don't know what you're getting excited about, but they did get some love though. Everybody's thinking about how much he looks better than this Watt, but you know, don't get excited about Jameson though, because that could come crashing down. And he is Jameson. He will throw a bad pick six, but I am glad that he had a moment though. He can fool around and get that job though. So no, I understand people and their fans. I get that because Big Old Mafia is a trip. But if your team sucks, or you get excited for rivalry week, but sometimes you got to give it up if the other team is better. You know, like come next weekend, Ohio State will blow Michigan's behind out the water. If they don't beat them by at least 2 touchdowns, then Ohio State sucks because Michigan is there for the pickings this year. You better beat them by 10, by 14, 10 to 14. If you struggling, you're not that good. So that's how I feel about it. Oh, he should be fired because listen, you do know we won yesterday, right? So Michigan gonna get the fruit of the loom bowl. I already said it in the video. Taco Bell bowl or the discount bowl. They got a bowl. They got their 6 wins, but we're not fit for nothing legit. That just shows you how pathetic we are. Because even though we're gonna get, you know, Iron On Bowl, if Ohio State don't win by 10 to 14, they suck. And I'm saying that already. I'm saying, and what does that mean in English? 6 and 5. What does that mean in English? Yeah, two rank what? Get your butt blew out at home, beat up bad. What's that mean? Don't mean much or nothing. Should have lost that game to SC. Not a good team, yo. I can speak on my team. I don't sugarcoat. You want somebody who sugarcoats their teams, I ain't the one. I call it like I see it. I knew they weren't going to be that good this year. I'm glad they're getting a bowl, but they're not that good. They're not that good. It's just like when I told you about the Yankees in the World Series against the Dodgers. I said that was the most talented team we went up against. I wasn't shocked by the results. Freddie Freeman caught me off guard, but I don't go around in no delusion. I root hard, but I ain't delusion. You asked me about the Bills. I think they very good. Are they great? I gotta see what the postseason because they've been looking they look kind of off in some spots. So I gotta see something. It was a big win against KC, but I gotta see it because I'm still kind of like, well, it is unacceptable. You get a bowl. Wimby looked good. Yeah, that bowl does count. That counts. That's a real bowl. It's not like the toilet bowl, okay? The tidy bowl. I get you. Well, the main thing for him is that he's coming up. That's the main thing. I don't know about putting him in their place, but he's coming up. The key is, can he be a postseason threat? Can he make a run? That's the thing right there. Golden State is a decent team who could be sneaky. And Steph Curry is dangerous enough. If Andrew Wiggins is playing like he's playing, Kamingas comes off the bench. But Ted asked this question about that I buy in the Golden State. I think they need to make a move. I think they're missing one legit more part. Once I see it, then it'll make sense. They're not quite where they need to be yet. But Wemby can shoot the three. He's inside out, versatile enough. Could be a problem. Um, that's hard to say because you got when you say something like that, it depends on what kind of defense they're playing, the structure. Can't say that. Can't say that. Wemby and them are playing 500 balls, so I think he could. Because Michael Jordan, his second year compared to Victor Wemby was a lot better. So I think he could. If you were trying to take a shot at Jordan, uh, that ain't gonna work. Cause actually his Bulls team the second year wasn't quite as good as Wemby's second year team. So that's how I got in word that. Mhm. I'm taking T.O., but Marvin Harrison does belong in the top 5 or 6 conversation. But I thought T.O. was just more dynamic. He got hurt, but as a rookie, he was a better player. He definitely had people on notice about what he did. Jordan looked like uh-oh. He looked like a uh-oh. So I don't know how old you are when you go back, but I will tell you this. He left enough of an impression. It was a different era, different time, and far more competitive. Teams weren't winning as much. Different era, different time. Way more physical and more demanding, though. But no one took them serious until the inroads started to came up. But they was watching him, though. That's the point I'm trying to tell you. Victor Wemby was not better than him first or second year. The East was more competitive because Boston was the standard. That's one of the greatest teams ever. Um, Two different types of receivers, but Chris Carter's going to get it because he had the touchdowns. but Largent had the better hands. Largent was scary consistent. But Carter's going to get it because he had the touchdowns and he had impact. His teams were more successful. But Largent had the hands, though. That's what I'm going to give him on. Put this thing in for a second. Okay. Dan Fouts. You know, you kind of almost feel like he was. I liked him a lot growing up, but he, yeah, I mean, he was a stat machine, but he didn't couldn't play in cold weather. And the Chargers had great talent, and they weren't much of a threat. So had he gone to a Super Bowl, we probably. The truth is, he probably was a cleaned up, better version of Phillip Rivers. Chargers have had a notorious track record of having that. Rivers, Breeze, and Stan Humphrey. And now we're gonna see what happens with Herbert. But they do have that tendency to have these stat padding quarterbacks who just don't do anything. So that's a good point you're making. But you know what? Glad you mentioned that because it goes to show you that even though things change, they can still be the same. So that's twisted. Um, Von Miller, because he changed the game. Because though I love Derek Thomas a lot, Derek was a bad dude and would have been close to my cousin. But come on now, Von Miller won a Super Bowl on his back. It made the Patriots offensive line have to tighten up, made Grunk and Brady have to. You can't dispute that. And then he went to the Rams and got another one. If we're about winning championships and making the marks, Derek Thomas was just that the league was a little bit better. And there was a lot of competition at that time. He was bad. Don't get it twisted. But Kansas City, what Von Miller did was a one man band. I mean, yeah, but Ken Anderson didn't have a lot of success, though. He had the Super Bowl appearance. They weren't a perennial um, threat. He did have Isaac Curtis and stuff. They weren't a perennial threat. So my all time starting five. Okay. I got it's gonna be different than most, so just mine. It changes. Shaq, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, who else would I pick? Jordan, and I would probably say Steph Curry today. The competition today is different. When you ask me if about the competition today, depends on which we're talking about, what sport. I think that you got great players. I don't know if you got great teams. I think that's the problem. I don't think people bring out the best in each other. If that's where we're going with this. I see a lot of great individual lives. You want to know a sport where I see good competition that came from today in the last 15 years was in tennis. And I talk about Jokic, Federer, Nadal, and Murray. That was the sport that I saw great competition in, those four. I don't really feel that in a lot of sports because there's no real rivalries no more. That helps. Oh, Kellen Senior, man. Come on, man. That's not real for me. It's not even close. Do you think you might get off of my lawn, guy? Do you think you might? You mean might be? It depends on what we're talking about. Depends, Kelsey, because he's more accomplished. That's the difference. And you got to finish it up. I thought Kellen was as gifted as a talent. Let me answer that, blank man. Some things I am, some things I'm not. Depends. Case in point, when it comes to music, I'm like that. Even though there is talent out here, it doesn't apply itself to the best, and it's very watered down. When it comes to movies and acting, I saw the best already. You're regurgitating things. There are things in entertainment that I can say that about. Now, baseball, I'm not. Shohei Ohtani got a chance to be as great as anyone that's ever played. So there you go. So I'm not. Baseball, no. Basketball, I'm not. Steph Curry is a great example. So there you go. Two different sports. Patrick Mahomes, quarterback. So you can't say that about me. Now you asked me about the teams and the concepts where we got without analytics and everything that's going on, I might veer back. So it depends on what you're asking me. When we talking music, for instance, I saw better musicianship back in the day, artistry, albums, concepts, production, live performances. So I'm not even gonna, yeah, there depends on what you're asking me. Film too. But there are talents that I admire that come along today. Tiger Woods was the last great golfer I saw, and that's in the last 20 years. So there you go. I don't think there's no overall competition today because you don't have teams. You got to have teams. You don't have teams. See, when you want to talk about competition, you got to have someone that brings out the best in each other. I told you tennis did that. Those four guys brought out the best in each other. Just like when I watched boxing in the mid 80s with Duran, Hagler, Hearns, and Leonard, they brought the best out. You got to have a circle of it. Can't have one guy here and one guy there dominating because that gets boring. Um, More overrated Bradshaw Aikman. Bradshaw, Bradshaw, because he was stacked with great talents. You had an all-time great running back, all-time great receiver, a great offensive line, and all-time great defense. You had a super team. He threw a lot of heaves up. He didn't think he was the best quarterback on that team. He thought Broadway Joe Gilliam was, and Joe Gilliam would have probably gotten the job if he was black. Aikman was poised. So I gotta say Aikman. Do I think his competition in the 90s was good? Yeah, the Knicks were good. Orlando was good. I think he did get battle tested in the East. The Pacers were close to beating him in 98. I do think he had a big offensive line, but he didn't have. Okay, so on defense, Charles Haley, Deion Sanders, and Woodson. Okay, but you're gonna tell me L.C. Greenwood, Mel Blunt, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, Mean Joe Green? You're gonna tell me that's not better? Donnie Shell? Come on now. Come on now. You're talking to somebody who can go back on that. Pittsburgh had more stacked than Dallas. Rocky Bleier had a TV movie of the week of him because he was a Vietnam vet. Franco Harris, running back. Lynn Swan, who was the Robert Ory of receivers, got him all kinds of love. And Starr was a beast. Benny Goodham was a good, Cunningham was a good tight end. Mike Webster's one of the greatest centers ever. Come on now. Um, Todd Hilton, because Bagwell was a bad dude. Todd Hilton, the Colorado Kitty Park was hilarious, but Bagwell was a true. More underrated, Kurt Warner, easily. Before you mention the greatest show on turf, he was a bag boy. He didn't have any hype. He earned his way. Steve Young had that Brigham Young connection. Came out of college, was a big time player. He stunk with Tampa Bay. They sent his behind back to the USFL, the LA Express. Come back to the 49ers, he was running. They forced him to be in a great quarterback. He got under Walsh in Montana. Kurt Warner earned that joint. Kurt Warner. Yeah, I like Bagwell better. Bagwell was a bad dude. That's my take. Haley came from the 49ers. Check. Norton came from the 49ers. Check. Maryland, Woods, and Dion. Dion came from the 49ers. So three of them five right there shut you down. Pittsburgh drafted all those guys. What's your point? Pittsburgh drafted all their cats. You got that right, Ted. And they were great that one year. He should be. Well, he was it's because of the era of the players. And he didn't carry the kind of weight of some of the other guys. I think that's one of the things they ruling against him. I don't know. There's always a lot of politics involved. So they'll get in eventually. Pittsburgh had a Hall of Fame team. Everybody knew that. You'll never see that kind of situation again. So why they won those 4 chips. They were the most stacked team in the 70s. And those guys were locked in for life. Think about it. But Joe Gilliam was a better quarterback. I think Drew Pearson. I've seen them both play. Took Drew Pearson 50 years just to get in the Hall of Fame. And everything was about Roger Staubach. And receivers weren't as when you look at what he did for his era, it was great. But if you looked at it today, you might think he was just like a second third. I know you would, because that would be logical. But you never hear Drew Pearson never got his jersey retired. And whatchamacallit, Irvin should have gotten 88 retired, but whatchamacallit shouldn't have never wore 88. But Drew Pearson was legit. He was underrated because they put Starbuck, Dorsett, Bob Lilly, and Randy White, who taught Harvey Mudd. They put those guys over him. I'm just saying. He came up big, but he wasn't given the kind of love on man. Simeon Rice was a better player. The only thing that would make Gastineau underrated is because well, he had that one out of body season, the sacks. But that's all he had really. The New York Stock Sack Exchange, him and Klecko, but I'd say, but again, he played in New York and he was hyped. So Simeon Rice, because he played with Tampa Bay. Simeon Rice did what Gastineau did is a different story. Percy was a bad dude. That's a good, true statement. I agree with that. That happens to a lot of guys, though. Yeah. Yeah, they were, but they didn't win, and that's what works against them. They had that prime and peak when they lost that game to the Chargers. They were both balling. I think his ego and mouth kinda getting away. It's a lot of politics in the NFL, and they use if you're too scary, too greasy, they use it against you. Ricky wasn't happy-go-lucky. And sometimes they think that anybody could have done what you've done. Because it's like if you ask me about who was a better back out of Ricky Waters and, um, uh, um, um, uh, the back for Frank Gore, that's a debate. But see, I don't like it when people say you were great, but you were lazy, but you should be in the Hall of Fame because that's just too many contradictions. You're either Hall of Fame or you're not. And if you're lazy, that kind of gets downsides if the numbers are there and you were great. So I don't quite understand that flow. That's a very contradictory, bumpy flow that he's trying to project. He's either Hall of Fame or he's not. We can call everybody lazy, but if you're Hall of Fame, you're a Hall of Famer. So I'm gonna call Cap on Shay Shay on that one. He should be a Hall of Famer then. You can't call that man lazy and say this and that, and he not. He should be. But again, it's politics. That whole mess with the Dolphins and the Saints and the marijuana. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you gotta go back. If you don't know, Google it. When you find out, I'll tell you what, tap into when guys got in trouble or their flamboyancy or their demeanor. Those are the subtle things that these critics use against them. That's why it happens in football. All of them are like, do we like you? So remember that. See, these guys, when it comes to Hall of Fame, it's kind of like that girl. If she liked you, she gave you her real phone number. But if she didn't, she gave you the phone number at the ice cream parlor or the bowling alley. That's kind of how this works if she likes you. And this is what they deal with when it comes Hall of Fame time. He cries off for anything. I ain't got nothing to say about him because he's a bought and paid for. He used Prince and others to kind of jumpstart him and Hill Harper get on my nerves because they both cry themselves to a positioning. And he gonna end up wondering what he do because he's just a puppet on CNN. His glasses get all fogged. Boo, boo hoo. Well, they were friends because he be Prince would be in touch with him. He had a big old picture of Prince on his mantle, one of them rooms in his crib. And, showbiz and the politics, and they sit there and he used the clout. It's called clout chasing. That's what happened. When you know somebody that's known, y'all sit there and y'all buddy up. I watched that turkey. Big old 4-eye glasses, be all Kermit the Frog head turkey, mustache be all mustache get all mushy. Yeah, he do too much and don't even know what he do. But what he be doing is basically Al Sharpton folks. He basically a pundit pimp. He'd be up there with Michael Eric Dyson and just like, yeah, yeah, we agree, we not really. He don't even know why he crying. He should go ahead and be an actor. Uh, Stephen A. Smith's got that job on General Hospital. He should go in there and get his role too. He'd be role playing all the time. I see that turkey all the time, lying and crying, lying and crying. Um, the reality is, it's already been banned. Black history's been banned because they only teach it for 1 month. It's the most disrespectful thing when black people are born bred citizens of the country. So it's already been banned. They don't teach it in school. So he don't have to do anything that's already like duh because they banned it already. They have not um and the white supremacy part, it's already evident. See, what he's doing is a play on words of two things that are kind of obvious. We don't get taught Black history at all. We only get it for a month. And white supremacists is alive and well. Um, when you talk about when you talk about it, you get 1 month out the year when people been born and bred and made the country. Um, White supremacists is in everything. We don't really have to say it because it's there. Who owns all the TV? Who owns all the studios in Hollywood? Who owns all the sports teams? What do we see? Who's the educational system? His story, not our story. So when some turkey comes out like he's Captain Iris, well, what you banning what? Because it's already banned. The eyes can see that those are already in place. There is no black history and there is white supremacy. So yeah. And I know about that rally. I did a video about it. It's funny they want to wear masks when they want to protest and show their hateful ways and not be seen, but to save lives, they choose not to. Go make sense. He's benefited off all that already. That's what dictators like to think and do. And he has a purpose to say those things, but it's there. That's why people who support him aren't that enlightened about what the agendas are because he throws it right in your face. There's no Scooby Doo mystery about what is up. He hasn't done anything that I think is so groundbreaking. He's just done what he's been allowed to do because of privilege. And he wears privilege loud and clear, you know, but there is no Black history being taught. If we born and bred in the country, you should have 365 days of it, not 1 month of it. If we're going to be honest about it. And if you were to be honest about it, you'd have to make amends with the amendments and change things. Racist Latino Trump supporters are surprised. They're surprised that there were black Trump supporters. Well, he played on the machismo. That's what happened. I think that the black Trump supporters, because of the fact they didn't respect Kamala, which just goes to show me how sexist the country is, and they'll never have a woman as president. But she also, in her defense, she didn't get enough time to establish nothing. She got thrown into there too. But it shows me, uh, and I'm gonna get this straight. I'm not defending her. I'm not no fan of her. I do think she could 2028. I think when the mess goes down, she'll have a chance to come back. She'll get a chance to really do something and she'll help strategically, but she got to think way more than just flexing with good hair and star-studded people. You got to actually have an agenda. You got to come back and say something and be about something. But she didn't really get a chance to really do nothing. She had to come behind old Gramps. And him and Trump are the same person anyway. The only difference is that Joe Biden is an actual politician and Trump is not, but it's the same person. Old grandpa that comes to spank you. That's all. But um I think that I'll say this about him. He could beat Trump and he's smart enough to know how to manipulate and pinpoint things. But what got him over ain't gonna work because it's not fully felt. Now, him Spengalian for Biden was easy because we had a natural disaster 4 years ago. And he came in to give Biden a lift. But he also said that Biden was known for being a mess up. That's not the exact word, but that's you can fill in the blank about what he actually said about Biden. He said if leave it to him, he'll mess it up. That's not quite the term he used, but he knew how to Svengali. He was like a puppet master. Charming. The problem is that he wasn't 100% Hillary and he wasn't 100% Kamala. He just gave them half-hearted pushes. If he had have really been behind them, he would have felt it. I didn't feel neither one that he was there. But two women should have won. That's the facts. Country got that wrong because they're not progressive. So he comes off saying things to try to appeal to something that he really didn't pinpoint on. And I said this before, I'm gonna say this again. He could not come out the way we want him to come out because he was the first brother. Unless, of course, you want to see some, you want to see something on a grill. He couldn't come out like that. So getting grilled, being grilled, um, that's not something that he could represent like that. So being smooth and charming and debonair, but it didn't work because they weren't feeling the product. It worked for him, you know. Oh, he's pulling a lot of strings, but you got to have somebody that's really distinctive, like that Jasmine Crockett. Now she was running; she's got fire on her. I like her. That sister got some game. That's what you need, not no stiffness. And that's one of the reasons why it didn't work. So it made him look like he was just trying to what he been doing behind the curtains. I don't really got nothing to say about Joel and B because they are a mess. He is, but he's no different than Trump. See, this is the thing that I want this to emphasize. You asked me what I thought. They all running game. It's just a matter of who you think got the game you want to hear. But he had to because again, he can't come out there and say anything that flips the cart because he don't get that option. But it's no different than Trump. They all in the same ring finger and they all rocking the same circles. Don't get it twisted. It's the people that get hoodwinked. That's why I said before. You hear what I say. I'm about reparations. I'm with Marcus Garvey philosophy. Not with this mess. Because those parties to me are like Diddy parties. And I don't do Diddy parties. And I'm not gonna get drinking the juice and get laxy goosey. That's what they want you to do. But he's got all the charm. I mean, you know, he is to Bill Clinton and JFK as Trump is to Reagan and Nixon. Think about it. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Different name, different technology, same white shirt, tie, same style. History repeats itself. People who get caught up in this stuff think you're seeing something. The only thing is that Trump is a businessman and he's not really a politician, but he's got people behind him who are pushing his agendas. But who's behind him? Who's the machine? That's the thing. But it's all a game. Either way you cut it. I ain't got nothing to say about MB though. I like that rookie they got. He's doing pretty good, but they suck. They're a bust. And they're making Nick Nurse look like a joke. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. But Maxie can call him out all he want. The problem is they're not going to do anything. And actually, the truth is, Embiid is starting to break down. That's the what the quiet is kept. His body breaking down. He's an old 34. Cause Giannis is playing like he's supposed to. Bobby Porter's playing like he's supposed to. Dame's playing his role. They got to get contributions with Brooke Lopez. If they play as a team, tighten up, beat teams you're supposed to. You're third or fourth seed without trying hard in the East. The problem is no one's respecting you to beat Boston. That's the problem. So until you can get that credibility again, you're going to be seen by third or fourth by default because you have arguably the second best player in the world. So, but anyway, there's no difference in the political run. It's a game. It all depends on which way you want to dance. If you buy them, I do my videos and I talk about it, but I let it be known. I'm about reparations. I don't trust none of them. Ain't nothing gonna change much. All they gonna do is spread their rhetoric and agendas. But you gotta understand something what people don't get. Whatever one does, the other co-signs it. They just don't do it outwardly. See, and it's done. It's done already. I put it to you like this. So Bill Clinton was a Republican. And who you think taught Trump some of the antics and the games and the maneuvering? And he was a governor and a law licensed lawyer, and his wife is too. And you think that don't rub off and don't infiltrate? I wish people would just look at the totality and stop looking at the logo. Totality and logo are two different things. We get to the logo after we get through the totality. And when we got the totality, we can be whatever we want because it ain't nothing but acting. That's why DC and Hollywood are connected. That's why if you buy a CD or you buy a DVD, you look on the back, FBI, piracy, federal, it's all connected. It's no different. And it's scripted. And Trump was a TV actor with a SAG card, just like Ronald Reagan. So it's all there. They show you this image. They sell you off it's no different. It's no different than the old Hollywood MGM movies. PR directors, firms, makeup crew, the suit you wear. Trump wears his nice fitted blue suit and his red tie and his white shirt, and his hair is freshly coiffed. He looked like Richie Rich. Obama wears his white shirt and his tie and it's all done. It's selling you on an agenda and a lifestyle, which most of us will never get to see. So that's what they sell you on. And people slurp it up and say, oh, he's the better one. He's the one. It's all the same. At the end of the day, there ain't no difference. It really isn't that much a difference. The difference is that their agendas are what they say. But by and large, they gotta go under the same toolage. They gotta go to the same places, the same they have to they have to take all that in and play the game. And actually, what is the job of a president anyway? Because that's on the job training. So when he went to go do those fries at McDonald's, that's the same thing as being president. It's on the job training. I want to know what makes it so different that he had to get on the job training. He'll have a team that people do the bulk of the work. Now, his agenda to divide is just keeping in tradition, so that's nothing new. We know that when you talk about so-called liberalism, they divide too. What the um how does Biden and Obama and them brought race relations any better than the Republicans did? Did any of them make it closer? Did they break the gender gap? If people were so together, there wouldn't be sexism. Then you'd have a woman president, not someone that's just kind of pretending. And actually, when I look at Kamala Harris, she should have won. She's a moderate conservative. She's not some left wing high flyer. There's nothing about her that says that she's so open minded. So, but people get caught into what they want, though. I'm not buying all that. Yeah, she has. I really don't talk about it much unless someone brings it up. Same thing with Sammy Sosa. I don't really know. Only thing I can say, she's one of the greatest athletes I've ever seen. And if we were to stop the last 20 years, where was she ranked? She'd be a top three for me. So that's all I'm gonna go by. I don't really get into her personal. That's not what I do. Um, she's gone through a lot of stuff though. She got used by that industry, and so can't really say. I liked her like I said, she's arguably the greatest female tennis player, one of the greatest tennis players, period. One of the greatest athletes ever. So, but beyond that, I can't really say any more about her. I know some people made some remarks about her, and so she's been broken down a lot. People said some really derogatory things about her. So, and that's all I can say about that. 67% says no. Wow. Okay, so that went up. Okay. So, I said arguably the best female tennis player ever. I said arguably because for her era, she was the most dominant and she was the best. You can make a strong case for her as being the GOAT female. You can make a case for it. I know you'll mention Monica Seles. I understand. And some may even mention Martina Navratilova. You can make cases. She's in that argument, though. And you can say she is, you know. And I said one of the greatest tennis players ever, male or female, because her dominance was unlike, you know, I mean, obviously Jokic and Federer and Nadal, but I mean, she was bananas. I ain't got no problem with it. I'm just putting it there. If we were doing the last 20 since the 21st century athlete, she's anywhere from number one to number three as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Let me put that's how high a regard I have Serena Williams. You can't say you can't even start talking about the most important athletes the last since since yeah, she's the one or three anyway. And the only athletes that I would probably put with her or rank over her, uh I could make a case for Tiger Woods. I could definitely make a case for Tiger because Tiger was unbelievable. He was unbelievable. He belonged in that conversation. And I would probably say Barry Bonds. Mm, but she, yeah, she was amazing. So she was as dominant in tennis as Tiger Woods was in, you know, golf. Well, baseball had a good year this year. I mean, they bring back what they need to bring back. When they need pitching, they bring pitching. When they need batting, they need batting. When they want steal bases, they do what they want. They know what they doing. They just play the public like they dumb. Venus was more versatile, and she did get the illness, but Serena just got better. Serena ended up getting better as time went on. Venus was more versatile, but she just got better. That's when there was truth to all that. But Venus's dominance, while she's great, like she's a 10-time all-time top 10 female, it's not where her sister, it's not close. But she definitely was great. And she's like great in what I call but there's levels to greatness. There's like a great, then there's an all-time great, and then there's GOAT debate. Now see, Serena's in GOAT debate, and then all-time great, you're in that next level, and then you're great. So I got Venus in that great category. I don't have her in the all-time, like in that 3 to 6 range, but as a great, she's top 10. But then her sister's in the GOAT, and that's the difference. So there's 3 tiers within the greats for me. Steroid era didn't really go away. It just got a different name. It's called analytics. It didn't go away. It's just called analytics. That means we bring in secondhand pictures or people and we blow them up. That's what they've done. That's why they get the numbers matchups. That's a way of watering it down. without watering it down. It's all a joke, but it's all real too. Okay, anybody out there, please hit the like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments. And if you want to hit the punch up, the smash up the likes and everything. Oh, it was incredible, Chase. It was incredible. Baseball needed that. I told you the lethal weapon, they needed Sosa and McGuire. They got what they wanted. And when they got what they wanted, they act like they didn't know him. It's done on purpose. Bug Silic was very calculating. Had that commercial with Greg Maddox and Tom Glavine talking about chicks dig the long ball. Yeah, all that was done. They did that on purpose. That's why I told you about analytics. People don't even look about it. And let me tell you something. Mark McGuire came in here rookie year hitting 50 home runs, okay? Skinny Mark, medium Mark, big Mark was always on the mark, okay? He's a Hall of Famer. Stop the nonsense. That guy was a flat out stud who could smash a ball. But I got to remember Tony La Russo had the foggy glasses and he didn't. Sosa could flat out hit the ball. He was aggressive. Sammy won him over because Sammy was personable. Sammy got a good PR team, got the right. Yeah, he was getting pitches thrown to him because they didn't have a lot to work with. So they weren't worried about the Cubs. He made the Cubs a formidable team because he took that on his shoulders. The Cardinals were a better team, but he made them into a playoff contending team. That's the thing. I do too. I try to forget as much as I can. That way you don't go wrong. Yeah, he was doing all kinds of stuff. I remember when the cork bat, when that bat broke, everybody knew. But he could hit though. This is the thing. Sammy was strong. He could hit. Didn't have much on the glove part, but he could hit. They used him. I got 20 more minutes before I'm gonna go. So yeah, well, again, I'm not gonna hold it against them. I'm not gonna hold it. Again, I've already touched on that. I told you, Selig knew more. Guys should be in the Hall of Fame, and it's a double standards, and it's a lot of interesting stuff. I got a video that I'm doing real soon about Robert Kraft and stuff. I'm gonna talk about some stuff, but that's kind of the Grizzlies. Um, John Morant got to stop getting hurt. He got to stop trying to play like he's a action hero. They got a team that could be a problem if they get cohesiveness. People forgot that they got a squad. They just need their captain to come back and play ball and stop trying to leap sideways. You know, they could be a problem. They could be a problem. LeBron did tell the truth the other night in the locker room. The West is stacked. It could be a problem. You get old very quick. You can win three and you can lose six. So we're gonna see. Yeah, I knew that. I followed the Lakers for a long time. They coached well after what had happened with Riley and Westhead. But yeah, but Jerry didn't want no parts of coaching because he was very angst person. So that would have he'd have been all his fingernails and his fingers off. But he did what he was best, where he could bring the talent, and that's what he did best. Yeah, it's been known. Did you watch the show on HBO? Because they talked about that again, and it was in this the Showtime book. Never known. Jerry wasn't no parts of coaching though. Because you gotta put your ego aside, and you gotta have an ego, and you gotta oh, yeah, by the way, if you watch it on YouTube, they had the Zoom of the Pat Riley announcement of the statue. Magic, Kareem, those guys were all on the bubble box, and then they had Jeannie Buss in her office with the trophy. So they had Pat Riley on the Zoom. So that was, yeah, that's on video, that's on YouTube. Um, I gotta say, um, good question. Dang, that might be video worthy. Um, let me okay, give me just one moment. Let me write that down. Because I might put that into a video, but I won't do that for a while though. But let me answer your question since you brought that up, and I'll answer it the best way I know how. I am going to say the more dominant of the two, even though the Patriots won more, that would say logical. I'm going to give it the Lakers went to 9 chips in 13 years with that crew. 1 year without Kareem. The Patriots went to 9, won 6. I'm going to say the Lakers, and I'll tell you why. It's tough. It's a great question. Great question. Right? More dominant because they changed the culture. They ran the West. They were a standard. Um, and they kept bringing in the right pieces and parts. You lose Jamal Wilkes, Norm Nixon, you get James Worthy. You always had Kareem and Magic as staples, you know. Um, even made Kurt Rambis legit. Oh, you really bring the questions. I mean, you're going to give me stuff that I'm going to do for future. Uh, Let me see. How I want to answer this. Let me think. And let me know if you agree with my answers or not. You agree with what I said about the Lakers and the Patriots? Let me know. Give me a one if you agree. Give me a two if you disagree. We can talk about it. So I say the Lakers for the first one. Uh, as far as the Yankees and the Warriors' more dominant run, think so. Yeah, I'm going to say I got to give it to the more dominant run. I gotta say, for me, Golden State, and I'm gonna tell you why. Great as Derek Jeter was, he wasn't the best person in his position, but things did come together, and it worked out where they had a balance. The Warriors run, you see, you hadn't seen guard play like that, that took off like that, where he changed the course of the league. And then you bring in a guy like Durant, and that added a whole nother dynamic. Meanwhile, you had a dominant run in what LeBron James was doing, but that offset it because nobody saw it. See, everybody sees the Yankees being a threat. The Steinbrenner's money. Jeter was a budding superstar. All the pieces came. No one saw Golden State. No one saw that. Jeter was heralded when he came out. I think Jeter was more heralded coming out than Steph Curry was. No one saw Steph Curry changing the course of basketball. So if I'm going by that, with that dominant run, it was more impressive. I got to say Golden State. The harder sport to dominate would be baseball. But what Steph did and the way they did it, because they went to 5 straight finals and won 3 out of 5. You know, the Yankees run was incredible what they did, and how they won. The last chip though was in '09, so that was the fifth, and then they won in '01. They had a gap, but the Golden State way that they did it, the style they did it, because you've had dominant shortstops before and pitching and all that. You had never seen a guard play like this before Golden State. The backcourt was so dominant, and the Warriors owner was at the right place, right time. So that's the reason. I think it's harder in baseball to dominate, but the way Golden State did it, because that's the thing that we're talking about now with Steph Curry, his dominance. And Shaquille O'Neal said he was the most unique player of the last 30 years. So I think that kind of tips it to Golden State. Sight on scene, you would think the Yankees, because baseball's tougher. However, if I go by what um how Golden State did it and the way they did it, that hadn't been done. Change the course of basketball, change the style. Oh, Ronnie Barber, because he wasn't loudmouth and brash. Sherm was loudmouth and brash, and everybody knew about Sherm. Ronnie was low key, got the job done. Still remember when he sealed that game against Philly in the NFC Championship game? That was a 14-point swing, and they won the Super Bowl. Yeah, he doesn't get his due. Sherm, everybody knew about Sherm. I think he was more underrated, and he was very lethal without all the histrionics. Okay. So I got to give it to Ronnie on that one. I liked your question about the Yankees and the Warriors. And if I don't think of it like what Steph ended up doing, and I think about the totality of baseball being a tougher sport, and I'll probably make a video about it. But I just think that the way he changed the course of the game, him and Clay, the backcourt, that changed it. Now you could use the Draymond Green thing and use the Rodman thing, and you can use the Rant thing to get that player, but Steph is still the center of it all. He just dominated. It just changed. So I had to give it to that. No one saw that coming. If it wasn't for Steph and Golden State, LeBron, it would be more nauseating to digest. He probably has rings on his toes. That's how dumb. That's how big it was. Deuce McAllister, because Steven Jackson was not quite to me the same. Steven Jackson, Deuce was better than he gives credit for. I don't think Deuce got his full juice. I'm gonna be out here in 8 more minutes, so just so you know, 'cause it'll be 2 hour mark. But yeah, I got to say Deuce. 67% says no to Kendrick. It's interesting. I like that poll. Appreciate people taking that poll for free. You agree about the deuce, and do you agree about Ronde Barber? You one for yes, two for no. I'm taking Ronde and I'm taking deuce. More underrated. Yeah, you can. It's just that y'all got to be more consistent on your defense, and you got to make sure you don't turn the ball over, and you got to make sure that you play with leads. That's the thing. You got a chance to be a team. I told you you got a good, legit team. Okay, you got a legit team. Now, Detroit and Philly are in your way, but like I said, if you don't have to, you can avoid one of them. On the play, you got to like your chances. You just got to stay healthy and focused. That's all. So, Packers are stacked. They got a squad. It's funny how that changed in the 90s. It used to be the other way around. Or if you had have been aware of the 90s, Brett Favre used to own the 49ers, but the Cowboys was your kryptonite. And you each shared Steve Mariucci. I remember when the 49ers did beat Green Bay because T.O. caught that pass over the middle and got hit. Yeah, after winning that game last week, they need a bye week. But they got a tough situation. Not so much the schedule, but how do they finish out the rest of the season? Because they got a chance to either be first or second, but are they going to be motivated? That's going to be tough when they come back. They got to play New England twice. They get the Jets from once. So it's going to be interesting. I only happen when we get to the postseason. I ain't getting excited about now. I've been through this song before. I mean, I think they're a very good team, but they still got some flaws, and they got to make sure that they don't, you know, they got to be able to stop the run, and they got to be prepared for, again, looks good right now, but again, we got to wait and see. I'm not gonna get excited and happy clapping until we actually do the job. It's a trap game for the Eagles because this is a game that the Rams are a dangerous team. They're a dangerous 500 team. If Matthew Stafford gets going, they could go on a run. If you beat them and treat them like a 500 team, it's a trap game for Philly. It's the game you gotta be careful and watch the cautious signs. Uh, yeah, but they're not hot in the sense that I see them going on a run, but they're hot. They could beat somebody. They got the offensive tools. I don't know about the defense. Their offense is legit. But we'll see what happens. Stat Tat or either and as long as Big V don't get out coached, if he don't do nothing dumb, please continue to hit the like and smash them up. And if you want to commentate, feel free. And also if you want to take in on the poll, I got about 4 minutes before I'm getting ready to go. So feel free to give me your commentary. So far, people don't think Kendrick Lamar will be to Ice Cube's level. I don't either. They got to win that game because if they lose that game, then they become fodder for fifth or sixth seed, and the Chargers become a dangerous team. Can Harbaugh get into Justin Herbert this year? They could be a problem in the postseason. The Ravens, if they lose, Lamar's going to be looked at like a stat. He'll fall into the James Harden bag, stat pattern. So it's a huge game for both teams. Yeah, they are. Well, that's because they got, I guess Sean Payton got them right where they're in there in the mix. But they still young though. They're not ready this year. But another year or two, they're gonna be a problem if they're focused the right way. This year they're still young and green. Okay, so I got 2 more minutes before I'm gonna go. Okay. I don't think the AFC is loaded. Loaded with what? With what? It's Kansas City and Buffalo. And what else? You got potential. You got potential. What it loaded with? Loaded with what? The Chargers aren't there yet. That's comical. Mister threw 5 picks to third and fourth tier cats with the Chargers in the preseason game. Good luck with that. That first pass over the middle is gonna tell me everything I need to know how his game gonna go. He can run though. He got wheels. But they're auditioning him. That's what this is about. He's auditioning. He was clipboard man just 2 weeks ago. But that's because Riley Cooper sucked. Whatever magic he had, Cooper Rush, whatever Cooper Rush had, is gone. His Cinderella shoes are gone. AFC has got Kansas City, Buffalo. That's it. Everybody else is battling in the high seconds, and maybe Baltimore. That's it. Pittsburgh. You see, you know teams that could get you, but it's Kansas City, Buffalo, yo. NFC has got Detroit, Philly. Oh yeah. I was gonna do about Jokic. I'll do a sports poll later when I do the next live. But those albums came out on Friday, and I thought I'd tap into those too. Yeah, get on the roll, all right. From get their butt blew out. They ain't gonna probably. They're not, aside from the Giants, I don't know who they're gonna beat. And they look like they're rolling over on McCartney already. All right, 68%. So Kendrick ain't gonna come back. Yeah, they're gonna. What they'll get is the Tangerine Bowl. They got to win the next game or so. Boy, their defense is poof. I did that video about that. Yeah, I know that messes NCAA up bad when they not in the mix. Because if they lose 2 games, they still be 6 seed. Indiana lose 2 games, they're going to be 26 seed. So he told you how the politics is in. Anyway, I'm gonna get ready to. We got 19 on it. Kendrick, I'm gonna call it a day. Appreciate you coming through. Glad to have you in. I'm gonna watch some of these games because I gotta do some videos tomorrow. But thank you as always. Appreciate you. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay real, stay true. And you definitely inspire me. I got some videos coming for some future roles I gotta work on. But peace out. Appreciate you. Let me know. Give me a one if you want me to come back Friday or Saturday, because that's the next times I'd be available. Because I'm not gonna come here on Thursday, and I don't think I'd come here on Wednesday. So give me a one for Wednesday, give me a two for Friday, or give me a three for Saturday. Whichever number I see is the day I'll try to come back. It'll be later. If it's Wednesday, it's later around this time. If it's Friday, it's earlier. And if it's Saturday, it's early. So one is for Wednesday, two is for Friday, and three is for Saturday. So give me a one, two, or three. That'll be like the days. So Wednesday would be a one evening. Friday would be a two for that afternoon, early part, morning, and three for Saturday, early part, morning, afternoon. So okay, I ain't getting none right now. Okay, that's That's fine. Everybody gone now. Okay. I'm gone. I'll catch y'all. Peace.